Welcome into Colts Talk, the day of the 2026 NFL Draft, and the show is presented by Prize Picks. We have your last minute, almost time, draft is here, rumors to get to when it pertains to the Indianapolis Colts. I understand the Colts do not have a first-round pick. Does not mean the rumors are not going to be flying. We're going to also have to talk about targets and all that after day one, so we want to make sure we get you the info you need right now. But first, as I said, the draft's about to start. Don't miss out on all the coverage we are going to have for you here on Colts Talk. That is free coverage when you hit that subscribe button. It's that simple. Hit that sub button. Free Colts draft coverage every single day and after, and all Colts coverage all year long. All right, so I know what you're thinking. You are wondering the same thing that I am, which you click on a draft rumors video. Are the Colts going to move up? Are they going to get into the first round? Well, I'll be honest with you. No, I don't think that's going to happen. But Chris Ballard's word of the day is aggressive. That is what Chris Ballard said the goal or the idea for the Indianapolis Colts will be during the 2026 NFL Draft. And you ask yourself, what does aggressive mean? How does that even work for the Colts at this point in time? Well, let's hear from Ballard. He says, I just think the kind of more shots you have at the board, the better. And what you can't do is get so fixated on one player that you lose sight of the big picture and what you could get. I would anticipate us being pretty aggressive next week, moving around the board. I think he meant this week on that one. And he also wanted to note going along with that, don't construe aggressive for moving up. Like, to me, being aggressive can also be moving back and then moving around and acquiring more picks than moving. Like, I just think we'll be active. That's probably a better word. Active, aggressive, interesting terms from Chris Ballard about the Colts' kind of draft plans over the next few days. Today's show is presented by Prize Picks. Can't forget that. Right now, I am on the Prize Picks every single day. The app itself, checking out what's going on with other people and putting my own lineups in. That's because Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Basketball playoffs going on, daily baseball games, and if you want to mix things up, why not try golf or soccer? And like I said, right now on the Prize Picks app, you can follow other people just like myself at Billy_BB. Yeah, you can copy my lineups, other people's lineups, follow your friends, follow people you know at Chat Sports. How do you do it? What do you do? The lineups. They're super easy to use here, guys. Let me give you an example real quick for the Knicks and the Hawks. Tonight, you just select your players, the aspects around their game, and go more or less, right? So you can see a couple different options for a couple different players here. Rebounds, three-pointers made, field goals made, points, per and assists and all that. It's all together on the Prize Picks app. And again, you just select more or less on those numbers. So super easy to do on the Prize Picks app. Download the Prize Picks app today. And with the link in the comment section and the description, you just use the code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Remember, on Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So Chris Ballard noting that they will be active and aggressive. And as he said, right, could be moving around, could be moving up, could be moving down. Picks next year, picks this year. Take a look at what they have on the board. And I kind of believe him, right? I think that idea is not crazy that the Colts could decide to try and get up to 41 and make sure they get D'Angelo Pons. Or say, hey, I'd love to have another fourth rounder. I think there's going to be a run on defensive tackles at that point. Got to make sure we get one. Let's move back 10 spots and pick up a fourth rounder. I have noted moving back in the second round usually commands a fourth rounder. So that could be something to watch for Indianapolis. Again, from Chris Ballard, active and aggressive, but he notes probably that doesn't mean they're moving up into the first round. That would be bold, wouldn't it? What are some other bold predictions, whether it be the Colts or other teams? I want to hear from you guys. I want to get your bold predictions for the 2026 NFL Draft. Okay, and then we're going to get to Kenny Moore. Now, the latest with Kenny Moore, which we were talking to you guys the other day about, will Kenny Moore be traded pre-draft, post-draft? That's been a debate as of right now, and obviously he is on the trade market. I know the fans got a little riled up because Chris Ballard kind of revealed that with Kenny Moore, the thinking is they're going to try and get a deal done, but if they don't get a deal done, they will do a courtesy cutting. They will let him go so he can find a new team. Before you give your thoughts on that, let me give you what Chris Ballard said here. Talking about Kenny Moore, he just felt like it was time for a change. Nothing much more than that, and because of our respect level for Kenny, we said, okay. It's not always easy, especially when you get a player that's been a pillar, not only on our team, but in our community. And a lot of people, took that as an insinuation that they will try and find a trade partner, but if they don't, they will cut Kenny Moore, which, again, that'll save the Colts money, so it's not a total loss if the Colts trade Kenny Moore. They'll, he's a bigger cap hit. They'll save a little bit of cash in that situation. And, Kenny Moore is obviously, like Chris Ballard said, right? A lot of people have a lot of love for Kenny Moore. Some people are done with him. But he's been a Colt and done a lot of good things for the Colts over the years. I'll start here. I understand you don't want your GM out there saying, like, hey, we'll cut him if we can't find a trade partner. So if I'm another GM, I just say to myself, well, I'll just wait, right, for the Colts to cut him. I do understand that sentiment. Not ideal. Chris Ballard seems like a guy who can keep it real at moments, I think. And I think that was one of them where he was just like, we're just trying to figure out what to do here. We want to be nice to Kenny. I like Kenny. He likes the Colts. We're all trying to figure it out here. I will say, though, I have a lot of confidence in this deal getting done, specifically because the Colts have been good with the trading so far. So our cut candidates for the Indianapolis Colts, Michael Pittman Jr. traded, Zaire Franklin traded, Anthony Richardson, who, we're figuring that one out, but he's on the trade block, and then you have Kenny Moore, who is also in the trade situation here. Believe it or not, I have a lot of faith in Chris Ballard to actually get a deal done. Funny enough, he said the same thing with Zaire Franklin. He said if they can't find a trade partner, they'll just let him go. Found a trade partner, got a deal done. Thinking and hoping they will get the same thing for Kenny Moore in this situation. But I'll give you guys the opportunity to predict it. Will the Colts cut or trade Kenny Moore? Cut or trade? Let me know what you think. C for cut, T for trade. Then, of course, what would Colts talk be without an Anthony Richardson update? We're always going to have them for you guys because why? You want to know, and we've got the info for you as to what's going on. Chris Ballard noting he is in Florida training right now. We noted that also. He is throwing. He's doing the drills. He's trying things out. I get that. Maybe the most interesting part of the update from Chris Ballard on Anthony Richardson, not 100% recovered from the orbital fracture. So again, if you're unfamiliar, was working out with one of the stretch bands, snap back, hit him in the eye, orbital fracture. That's how he ended up missing most of last season. Still recovering, getting his eyesight back. And Chris Ballard noted that's a part of the trade process as of right now. Teams want to know, how healthy is he? How does he look? I think the training in Florida is definitely a helpful thing. I've seen some of the videos. Looks as good as you can, just throwing at a local high school, being Anthony Richardson. But I did think that was interesting because we expected this trade to get done pretty easily, right? Well, now we know that his eye is not 100%. And look, he says he's doing well and he's cleared to throw and clear to do things. But again, not 100% recovered there. And then maybe not an unfamiliar Ballard update. Will Anthony Richardson be here in 2026 because he's not at the stuff right now with them? Neither is Kenny Moore. Chris Ballard said the same. Looks like he could be a Colt in 2026. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like, as of right now, he's a Colt, so he'll probably be a Colt, but we'll see what the trade market brings there. Now, I do want you guys to keep in mind, and this could apply to the Anthony Richardson. Could the Colts draft a quarterback? That is a very real question. You may say to yourselves, oh, no, we have our quarterbacks, and no, I don't think that's going to happen. Well, I think it'll be very telling if they take a quarterback, how close they are to a Richardson cut or trade, or how badly they want to be done with him. And I'll just note a few names here that have visited with the Colts, talked with the Colts, and the Colts are looking at for a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th UDFA, right? That is also an option at the quarterback position. You got Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Luke Altmaier from Illinois, Joe Fagnano from UConn, and then Cole Payton from NDSU. Look, this isn't the Daniel Jones heir apparent. You do still have Riley Leonard. Technically, you have Anthony Richardson. You also have a 4th quarterback on the roster right now. But the Colts could look for somebody to come in, compete for the preseason, see what they've got. Maybe somebody wows them. Hey, even you get a look at a guy like Garrett Nussmeier, and it's like Garrett Nussmeier takes a huge fall into the 6th round. You say to yourself, we like Nussmeier. Let's take him and see how it works out. And then if they take one of these guys, that will kind of tell me and tell you, like, all right, Anthony Richardson's probably on his way out through trade or for cut. It's draft week. If you haven't subscribed already, you got to do it. We're going to be reacting to picks, grading picks, getting your thoughts. We'll recap all the picks. We'll also bring you the undrafted free agents that the Colts signed. Anything going on with the Indianapolis Colts, we'll have it for you right here on Colts Talk.